Hi, my name is Dan Shanahan. I'm a professor at the Humanities faculty, Charles University, which co-sponsors UPCES. I'm coming to you from my cottage in southern Bohemia because I have the flu and I can't come to the orientation. And if I stop completely and seem to have lost my sense of where I am, it's because I've taken so many antihistamines to try and get through this dry that I may have badly harmed my cognitive abilities. Um, Let me start out by telling you just a little bit about myself to help explain why I do this talk, um, and also to illustrate some of the things that we're going to be talking about in the next half hour, 40 minutes. Um, I grew up a military kid till I was 16. My dad was in the Air Force, and we moved around a lot. And as a consequence, I had to adjust to changes of schools, changes of friends, changes of parts of the country, and in one case, changes to another country. Um, and it was probably karma or something that when I finally finished graduate school, I went to Stanford because when my father left the Air Force, we moved to California. When I finished my graduate work, I just seemed to gravitate towards international education. I had two Fulbrights, one to Yugoslavia when there was a Yugoslavia, one to Czechoslovakia when there was a Czechoslovakia. Um, but those first 10 years, I was at the Monterey Institute of International Studies, which I know some of you know from your Middlebury connection. Um, about 25 years ago, I think it's about 24 and a half to be exact, I moved to Europe. I spent 12 years in Paris, 12 years here, and about a year commuting between Paris and Prague, which is all by way of saying that I have dealt with the whole question of interaction between cultures pretty much all my life, and as a consequence of having grown up as a military kid, I think I developed some sort of intuitional skills that allowed me to deal with the cross-cultural questions um, in a way that many people just don't have the opportunity to. Because if you grow up in one place, if you live in one house all of your life, it's always amazing to me when I hear that people actually do that. I have to tell you, parenthetically, I just say that the place that I have lived in, the residence I have held the longest in my life, is my Prague apartment, where I've been for 6.5 years. And before that, everything was anywhere from 3 or 4 months up to maybe 5 years if my dad had a long posting. And because of that, you end up learning a lot. You end up learning to adjust. And that's a big part of what I'm going to be talking about today. But before I do that, I want to say that all of you deserve a pat on the back, a tip of the hat, call it what you will, for having made the decision that you've made to do a semester abroad. We're always happy if you choose UPCES, but quite frankly, um, so long as you've got a good program, pretty much anywhere would suffice. Because, excuse me, it's very clear that we have moved into an intercultural world, and that is only going to become more the case through what I have left of my life, what you have of yours, probably your children, and even your grandchildren. I've always been a little put off that economists, bless their hearts, um, they run UPCES, Surge, so I have to be nice to them. Um, they appropriated the word globalization. Maybe the media did it. I don't know who's responsible. When that word ought to be applied to a much larger domain. It's the domain in which we begin to see a phenomenal mixing of cultures. Nothing like this has happened for centuries probably has never happened globally because we just did not have the communication possibilities, travel, electronic communication, what have you. Um, and those possibilities have just expanded exponentially and created a world in which the only thing you'd compare it to would be the United States in the 19th and the early 20th century, when we had huge influx of immigrants, not just from Great Britain, but from all over the world. And that's what's happening in the world today. And it's happening in business, it's happening in academia, it's happening just on the street. And that's the world people need to prepare for. And by making the choice you did to come abroad and spend some time abroad, you made a very, very wise choice, even if you didn't know it. If you use it right. Because the real trick here is to use these next couple of months while you're here to learn to get outside your skin. Americans have a great deal of difficulty doing that in the way that I'm talking about. Americans, we're the biggest, we're among the richest. We didn't used to be, we used to be the richest, we're among the richest now. By biggest, I mean we sort of occupy the biggest footprint on the world stage, if you will. And it can be difficult to see outside of the center of gravity that the United States creates when you live in it. But quite clearly, as a consequence of that, Americans typically have a difficult time understanding, with any depth, things that go beyond it. And this is going to give you the opportunity to start to develop those skills and hopefully take you on to developing them throughout your career. I think I would say the key to making use of your time is attitude. No surprise. It's the attitude you take towards your stay here, but most especially towards your daily life. Because what you really need to do is to take a deep breath every morning before you open the door and go outside. Your flats, your apartments, they're going to be American. And you're going to know you're in Prague, but they're going to be American because I'm assuming most of you are American or North American. But once you step out that door, you're on another planet. And what you should do is step out and embrace it. Breathe the air, open your eyes, and open your ears, and look around and understand it. Immerse yourself in it as much as you possibly can. Because that's the kind of thing that's going to give you incredible returns as you move past this experience into other experiences. Some of you may be bitten by the international bug once this semester is over. And I know that happens to a handful of UPCES students every year. That's who's at the Monterey Institute of International Studies. People who come back from a year abroad or semester abroad and they go, that's what I want to do. I want to be doing that for the rest of my life. So, first of all, tribute to you all for having made the choice that you've made.